All right, kids, let's take a tour of the new shop. This was originally a 3-car garage. I have separated the 2-car from the single bay. The single bay on the other side of that wall, which I built, is my new shop. This is my new shed that I'm going to build. But let's take a look and see what's in here. Big fan of the Cobalt K-rail system. Works well. I use it extensively. I installed this door. This is the other side of the wall that I built, a 6-inch wall on 2x6 studs, bolted to the concrete floor, 5/8 inch drywall, very heavily built. Studs are on 24-inch centers, which is code. Inside of that door hang. Never hung a door before, that was fun. I guess we'll start back here in the back. Itty bitty little 90-amp welder, because I suck at welding and I would be dangerous with anything larger. Hot shot kiln, runs on 110 volt because when I got it, that's all I had available to me. Tap 2 controller makes controlling and programming these things super easy. I highly recommend it. And when it's running at 2,000 degrees, you can touch it and you don't even feel the temperature because there's space all around the fire chamber, and that space creates good insulation. My aluminum quench plates, my main large vise where I do most of my angle grinding for cutting out profiles, hand filing with multitude of files of every size and shape. If I got to do any heat work, I'll do it on this vise. I've got my my hardened steel file guides, some belts back here, belts over here, and belts over here. This is my steel rack and, my steel shelves and project rack. Each one of these bins holds a knife project, even the stacked ones. Each one has a blank in it. Generally, we'll have a piece of handle material in it as well. Everything from large bowies, chef's knives, pocket knives, you name it. There's a little bit of everything in here. Got a lot of stuff in the works at various stages of completion. Here's some short pieces of steel, some Damascus and odds and sods, little Bertie Wrightsfeld material over there, forging tools, some extra electrical belts. The wood will go into the shop once I get, or the shed once I get it built. Out this door is the exterior, which goes out beyond this wall where I've got my forging area set up and surfaces already pre-positioned for my forge. My anvil is out there under a cover. This is my steel rack, my forge and my quench tanks with Parks 50, Parks AAA. It's a Hell's forge. It will reach forge welding temperature, but it really got to work hard to get there. I put some wooden platforms on this so that I could put my short pieces on and my long pieces go in the back. Some sandpaper, arbor press, got my Kydex press there. And some blanks that I don't have a home for right at the moment. Pin stock, toolboxes, sheath building material, all kinds of sheath building fixtures, handle material, spacer material, scraps, hardwoods, some processed antler, pin stock everywhere. New blinds, some tool storage on my main workbench area. Now my main workbench, I used the best variety of MDF I could find for a subfloor. It's real smooth, real dense, real resistant to warping. Provides a better surface than the less expensive variety I used on the rest of my tooling benches. This is what I had in the old shop, and I was unhappy with that rough surface and the large pits and everything else. So this one's much better. Handle material, all kinds of it. It's just one of many places I have handle material stashed. Got some stacked up here. You can never have too many nitro gloves. Wouldn't be a shop without tunes and the adult beverage of your choice. Storage all underneath to include handle material, heating devices, scraps, the device I use to mark my maker's mark on my blades, tapes, measuring devices, calipers, paper towels, and my papper, because you can replace just about everything but your lungs. Current shop heat at the moment. Now this shop is insulated. I checked the exterior wall when we bought the house. Happy to find that it was insulated. And I fully insulated the wall that I built because I wanted both temperature and sound control. Had to have the power doubled from 100 amp to 200 amp. I couldn't believe this house was only 100 amp. That was an expensive project, but we got it done. And this is the lapidary setup, complete with the rock saw and my homemade cabbing machine, which has the centered diamond wheel and I think 60 or 80 grit right there, and then the expandable drum on this side, which I swap out with silicon carbide loops. It does everything I need to do for gemstones on the knives and in the knife handles. Got a little Osage orange under that cover back there that I brought back from Kansas. Currently, I am etching a blade in some ferric chloride in that bin. This is my main ferric chloride bin. My two grinders. The first one is the one I've been using for about 17 years. Built from Tracy Mickley's no weld grinder plans. It is strapped together with no welding, literally about $6 in scrap metal. I bought the pillow blocks and the wheels and the pulleys and of course the motor all up. I got a few $100s in it, and I've been using it hard for, like I said, 17 years. Just rewired the motor because for the first time in its service life it is running on 230 volt instead of 110. It was a variable voltage machine. So I've probably been at 1 horsepower or less all these years, and now I'm at 2 horsepower, and boy, I can feel the difference on this old motor. Kicks on, and I mean, you can just hear the hit when it kicks on. Listen to this. It never sounded like that before, but I was grinding on it all night last night, so I'm confident I did the wiring correctly. This is the new grinder. It's a Broadbeck 2x72, and I love the innovation that these guys bring to the table with this contact wheel on this pivot out here, so you can raise it or lower it at the end of the tooling arm. This has the big 3 horsepower motor. It's as big as they offer, run off of a VFD. I picked it up with the rotary platen, which gives me a 6-inch contact wheel, glass line platen, and a slack belt area, all rotating on a rubber belt. Moved my 8-inch contact wheel over to a Broadbeck arm. I moved my 12-inch contact wheel over to a Broadbeck arm. This is their platen slash slack belt slash small wheel attachment. I really like their attachments because you can see how the small wheel thing just connects in the middle with those 2 wings. And there's the flat platen that attaches to it, and they're small wheels that have the big bearings on them. I will probably only use the old grinder for flat, maybe some small wheel work, and this will do everything else, including flat. 10-inch sander, because you can't get anything truly flat unless you're on a disc. My old beat up Delta drill press, which is just rough. I probably need a new one, but this one is so familiar to me. It doesn't have to be precision, just I have to be precise with it. The bandsaw, small, benchtop, but it works. I don't use the bandsaw. I hate bandsaws because getting a blade on there and getting it lined up is very challenging for me, but I have it out of necessity. Storage area under the benches. Got the shop vac back there. I can just run the hose to pick up dust from anywhere I'm currently working. It's not an ideal dust collection system, and I will probably upgrade that in the future once I figure out where I'll put it, because I am limited on space. More under bench storage, which we'll be getting more stuff as we go. Some shelf with some more antler and handle material over there. That cardboard box has a power supply I use for my image etching for murals and stuff on blades. This is the buffer area. I need to build hoods for these buffers so they're not slinging material everywhere. This is the big buffer, primarily used for metals. Small buffer used for woods and polymers. There's the 2x48. I made a lot of knives on this old 2x48 before I ever owned a 2x72 back in the early days, 20 years ago. This thing is that old. 8-inch contact wheel, 8-inch or 9-inch platen, actually. I think it's a 9-inch. Glass lined, because I glass lined it real quick. You can also put a disc sander here if you were so inclined. I never did. I just mounted this little piece of leather jig at a 22-degree angle, so I use this as my sharpening rig, and I sharpen everything right here at that line. I use a 400 grit belt, turn the power down all the way on this little 8-inch cheap Delta bench grinder, probably a 5th horsepower. It's amazing how long it takes to make a knife on something that small, but I did it. This is the scroll saw, cheap little, I don't even know what the brand name is on that, whatever Harbor Freight was selling, I'm sure, maybe Lowe's. But it works, does what I need it to do. Belt storage, these are my higher grits, medium grits, lower grits, and that is it. Got a couple of fire extinguishers, one there, and oh, one more thing. I have my masters hanging up just above my head so my hat doesn't hit it. I wondered how I was going to do this, since the old shop it didn't have drywall and I had studs everywhere. I could just hang stuff everywhere. And I had these masters hanging in the beams in the ceiling, which I don't have here because I have a drywalled ceiling. So I had to hang these 1x3s up here for the specific purpose of hanging the masters. So 12-foot 1x3s with a bunch of tiny little finishing nails in them. And that solved my problem. So that's it. That is the shop, kids. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully I can have a shop tour for the IKA in the next couple of months, and before it gets too dirty in here. Have a great night.